You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey Jody, we're ready for you.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me here today, and I'm so happy to be able to Skype and share information with you about frac sand mining here in the Midwest. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Jody McIlrath. I live in Florence Township in Frontenac, Minnesota, and we live in southeastern Minnesota. And southeastern Minnesota is known for its beautiful bluffs, and they're also full of frac sand. We live in what's called the driftless area, and the glaciers didn't come through here last time, so they didn't flatten out our bluffs, and they left all this wonderful sandstone here, which is about 99% silica quartz, and it is the best frac sand basically in the world, and there's a lot of people that would like to have it right now to support fracking. And the use of the sand is because it is the perfect size and shape and hardness to be able to pump down on the wells that have been drilled and hold the fractured shale open to allow the gas and oil to escape. So that's just a little background about the sand. And like I say, southeastern Minnesota, western Wisconsin, and all the way down to the Iowa and Illinois borders along the Mississippi River is where this frac sand lives. A little bit of time about how long we've been spending studying the issues around frac sand. We actually started February of 2011 and up till current in being involved with these issues. I'm going to give you the list of the agenda items here. I'm going to give you information on all of these items. In January of 2011, a company called Windsor Permian, which is based in Oklahoma, purchased some land down here in our area in southeastern Minnesota, and they paid 5 to 7 times the market value. And it was only by happenstance that we found out that this land had been purchased, 40 acres very close to us and 155 acres a little bit north of us, and they're ag areas. And what I think is interesting is that the acreage up in Hay Creek, where the mine was actually going to be planned, is under 160 acres, and I don't know what the law is down in Tennessee, but here in Minnesota, if it's under 160 acres, it does not have to go through an environmental impact study. So I think that these companies know exactly what they're doing when they buy less than 160 acres. The other 40 acres that was purchased down here was being planned for a transport site. Transload site, if you will. This is a map of where the proposed mining operation was going to be. You can see it's not very far from the city of Red Wing. It's also smack in the heart of a very high-end residential area. This is the view of where Windsor Permian bought the 40 acres down by us. You can see the Mississippi River, or Lake Pepin, is on the left, where Hanson's Harbor is being pointed out, and the land for the transload site is right next to a railhead. It's also very close to state land and some native burial grounds. And then there's another city just south of that called Lake City, right on the lake, on the Mississippi River. This is what a typical mine looks like. This is, I believe, in Hayward, Wisconsin, and you can see it's pretty disruptive. The view doesn't do quite justice. It's an aerial photography, aerial photograph, I should say, and you can see that there was once kind of a large bluff or a well-mounded hill there, and you can see they go and shave off the top of the hill, and then they have holding ponds where they wash the sand and they use chemicals called flocculants. And when they wash the sand, they dump the water into these holding ponds And those holding ponds then settle out the fines, they're called, the finer stuff. And then the rest of it is sort of like mud. And then they take those mud cakes and throw them back in the hole once they start reclaiming the mine. And those mud cakes, again, are laced with flocculants called polyacrylamides that are somewhat safe in their existing form, but if they break down into acrylamides, which is a nerve toxin. This is what oh, did I lose you? Sorry.
Yes.
Inge?
Yep. Yeah, I can't even get into, I pull this up and it just keeps coming back to this.
Can you move
Oh, there it is. He said it was Frac something. He said user ID, not, he said Frac and then super something. Super Frac. He just said it too. I have never been able to get into that, so. Do I have to do anything on this end to get this going? I've never Skyped before, so.
It was fine until. Well, I guess you can hit video call again and see what happens. I've got a little experience with Skype.
Are you back? Nope, still calling. Yeah, I don't know. I have to find out what that. He said it was Frac and then. He's calling me back.
Do you want me to
So what do I have to do?
answer?
Answer. Where's the answer? I've never Skyped before. I'm technologically unadvanced.
Typically, this is what you do, but
A few times. It wasn't very well used. FaceTime.
Kind of friendly, you know.
We use FaceTime. I don't know how to contact ourselves.
Answer. There we go.
My brother has to do that talk with his son who's in
are
UK.
you there?
That's how he can talk with him.
We just kept.
I think he's probably mastered it though. He's been doing it for about 10
Are you
years.
back?
About twice a week for 10 years.
We can't hear you.
You
Hold
gotta
on.
press the button below.
Turn
Okay.
the sound up.
Yeah. You gotta press that video. Do Hickey first of all, so that you can.
The video.
Yeah.
This here?
Yeah.
So now we're there.
You would turn the sound down before.
Okay.
Hello?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we're back.
Good job, team.
Okay, I apologize. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I had to switch computers. I don't know what happened, but my laptop just decided it was going to reboot itself or something.
That's the
So
industry.
I will catch up with you here as to where I am on the presentation, and I do apologize. This is the loading site, the transloading site. This is actually Chippewa Falls from the air. And you can see the size of the operation. And this is what was proposed for the 40 acres close to our home here in Frontenac.
We're not able to see your PowerPoint.
You're not?
No.
Oh, hey, all right. Hang on, let me try something here. That's my fault. I didn't do your screen.
Hey, what's the login ID, Charles?
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
We
forgot
got
to
it.
ask
She's
you.
back. It's there.
Okay, great.
Right, I'm going to get back to the transload site that you're looking at. Can you see it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see the large operation where they load the sand onto the trains from the towers there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anyway, I'm going to now go on to the next slide and try to get rid of some things on my screen here. What we did is educated ourselves for 2 years, or over 2 years now, and especially learning from Wisconsin, because they are loaded with sand mines over there and processing sites. And we spoke with Pat Poppel, who is kind of the godmother of sand mining over there, and she put us in touch with a great deal of information. We actually, from there, had done a lot of our own studies, and we created a website, and anybody can look at it. If you just Google Save the Bluffs, you'll see how many studies we've gathered about this entire subject of frac sand mining. We also went to sand conferences. We toured mines. We did aerial photography. My husband is a pilot, and we've taken professional photographers and journalists over the different sites. I believe that right now the count in Wisconsin is up to 128 sand mines and about 60 processing sites. And so in the last few years, it's grown exponentially. We also did a lot of online research. They say we built a website, and then we shared that research with a mining study committee that had been created here in our county, so that through public pressure, we asked that the county look further into sand mining because it is certainly a threat to our environment. We also had an awful lot of meetings. We formed a Save the Bluff Citizens group. I'm the chairman of that group. We held public meetings for educating all of our citizens, a lot of meetings, and really stirred the public interest up in what the issues are about this. It isn't just sand, and so we wanted to educate our communities about it. We also gave a lot of presentations, such as you're seeing today, and excuse me for just a second.
Can you enlarge the image?
Can you know Jamie?
Sorry about that. The phone is ringing.
You should be able to go up
In any event,
the
we
corner
gave a
of
lot of
scope.
presentations. We
I don't
attended
know.
Well, it's
local radio shows. We wrote lots of letters to the editor. We also spent a lot of time at our state capitol during the legislative sessions and gave testimony about the issues.
Thank you.
We also sent tons of emails and phone calls and so on, and gave interviews. As far as fundraising goes, obviously it takes money to fight for a cause or an issue. So we had to come up with ideas on how we could raise money to be able to support our efforts. So, we did sort of the typical things, t-shirt sales, yard signs, pamphlets, etc. And we tried to be anywhere where there were gatherings of public so that we could pass out pamphlets and that sort of thing. And also, it costs an awful lot of money, as you probably know, to do newspaper ads. We were able to raise enough money, which actually takes the bulk of our income is for those newspaper ads, but they're well worth it. We also requested a lot of government action. When all of this started to arise after those 2 pieces of property were bought here in our county, we actually submitted an application for a moratorium, and we asked for 1 year. And we actually got it, but it was only through public pressure. We attended tons of meetings about this at the county level, in front of our county board. And many people came and gave testimony to that fact, that they were very concerned about this and really wanted to have a moratorium. Because of the legislation that we got through in our state of Minnesota this year, we were actually able to extend our moratorium, which would have expired in September, and we were able to extend it another 6 months. So we've been under moratorium for 2.5 years. We also lobbied our Environmental Quality Board, which is a state-run organization, and it consists of many of our commissioners at the state level. And those commissioners are heads of the Pollution Control Agency for the state, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Health, and the Department of Natural Resources, because all of those areas are affected when it comes to sand mining, just as it does in fracking. And then we had a senator that was very supportive, Senator Matt Schmidt, who went to bat for us at the state level. We also were very fortunate, due to a couple of generous donors, that we were able to hire a professional lobbyist. And we would have probably been lost at the state capitol without a lobbyist, because he knew his way around so well. So we did get a bill passed this last spring that was signed by our governor that gave us some additional setbacks from trout streams, an environmental assessment worksheet requirement for anything over 20 acres, and then the ability for counties to extend moratorium for longer than just the 1 year, which has been typical in state legislation before that. And then our state agencies are working on model ordinances and standards. We also, at the township level, because I'm on the planning commission and my husband is on the board, we were able to get a very restrictive zoning ordinance passed just this last March. In our township, it actually prohibits crack sand mining, processing, and transloading. And in Cave Creek, they did the same. They all but prohibited it.
Yay!
And we're probably the first township that could have done that.
Sorry,
as
couldn't
far as
continue.
networking goes, obviously we've had many wonderful contacts in Wisconsin and other counties, Winona, Wabasha, Houston, Fillmore, Elma Key, down in Iowa, and of course yourself now in Tennessee, because we're sort of a link to the whole fracking issue as well. We've also contacted many senators and representatives, county officials, township officials, and had neighborhood chats just to try to get the word out. The lessons that we've learned is, thanks to Wisconsin and Pat Popple, and also to the other counties that have joined the fight. And we found that certainly the smallest successes take huge efforts and funding. We learned that it's important to join up with local government in order to get action, and then to give time, effort, and support, or nothing will get done. And certainly what we found is, there are many of us that are involved, but there are many more that are not. And I think either, they think that it's just going to be taken care of, or that they know that we're working for them. But I can't stress enough that it is really important to get as many people involved as possible. So there is a burnout factor when you're dealing with all of this. The next step is our moratorium does expire at the end of March. We have filed another zoning application request. This time, our Save the Bluffs group funded it, and it's expensive every time you do it. It's another $500 to file a formal application with the county. But what we've done is requested that they get more restrictive in their zoning ordinance. The mining study committee had done a lot of work on it, but it still wasn't strong enough. So we're pushing for even greater setbacks We would like to see over a mile from any residential areas, school, hospital. We're also trying to get an overlay along what we call the Great River Road, which is a major highway that runs the entire length of the Mississippi through our county, and it's a huge tourism area. And we're looking to improve the setback for greater than a mile, so that it protects the tourist zone, the Great River Road. And then to ban flocculants, and we actually have somewhere in that from one of our couple of our county commissioners that they think banning the flocculants, the polyacrylamides, is a good thing. What it would do is solve a couple of problems, because these sand mining companies, some of them are permitted to use up to 2 million gallons of water a day. And we feel that if flocculants are banned, they would have to dry process, which means that then they wouldn't use as much water as well. So we know that our county will not ban entirely sand mining, processing, or transloading, but indeed we think that we're going to get a pretty good handle on where it should be and where it shouldn't be. And so we're pressing our county very hard to get them to map out where mining, processing, and transloading should not occur. And that would in much less sensitive areas than here. Okay, I am ready to take questions, if there are any. And again, what I'd like to do is to invite you to our website at savetheloved.com and see all of the work that we've put together. One of the things that we think is very important is to have a bibliography of all the reasons why we think that mining is not appropriate in certain places and why. All right, I'm ready for questions. If anybody would like to ask them.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, you have the question, then I'll repeat it
Those
to her. Okay.
flocculants that are used to wash the sand, how are they different from the flocculants that water treatment plants use? Water treatment plants that get their surface water from the next surface river, where there are lots of sediment. So how do the flocculants differ?
What is the difference in the flocculants used to wash the sand than the flocculants used at wastewater treatment plants?
At water treatment plants, yeah.
Okay, they're all polyacrylamide, and I know that that Dr. Pearson from the Mayo Clinic has spent hundreds of hours in researching flocculants. And the concern is that the way flocculants are used in sand mining is different than in water treatment plants,
Okay.
because of its exposure to the sun, to the ground, to heat and temperatures. We are concerned that it will break down and separate the poly from the acrylamide and become a third toxin. It also gets stored in the cakes, they call it, the waste cakes, that they put back into the ground, and they use that to fill the hole. So we're concerned that seepage back into the groundwater could be a problem, and there's just not enough known right now to know that it's a safe chemical.
Thank you.
It's very different in the way they treat water. The water is treated in a pond. It is enclosed. It doesn't go seeping into the ground.
Can you ask if that's on the website?
Is that information on your website?
Yes, it is. There are many, many studies on it, and it is definitely on our website. And as I say, Dr. Pearson's presentation is also a place where he has a great deal to say about polyacrylamides.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the occupational hazards of engaging in frac sand mining?
Can you talk about the occupational hazards of frac sand mining, of the workers that are actually working within proximity of these mines?
I'm sorry, can you ask again?
Can you speak a little bit about the occupational hazards that the workers have to deal with working at these mine sites with the silica dust?
Most certainly. OSHA is, the Work Protection Organization, and they have published standards for the workers in these mines in terms of the masks that they are supposed to use at the workplace. And they found that recently that even those masks, even the most high-tech masks, do not completely protect them. And silica sand, it's what you can't see that's the most dangerous. If you see sand blowing, silica sand blowing across the prairie, it's not a good thing, but it's the very fine particles that can't be seen that are the most dangerous, that embed themselves in their lungs.
What regulations are in place now from OSHA for silica in the air?
Do you know what regulations OSHA has, or what sort of regulations might be on the books for, is it the with,
For the dust?
for the
Because
dust and the
anybody can
silica
breathe
particles
that.
in the air, if there's any regulations pertaining to the release and of the sand dust through the air?
There are some regulations, and if you visit the OSHA website or our Save the Bucks website, you'll be able to see those because we do have them published on our site. I believe that it is anywhere from PM10 down to the 3 micrograms is the size that they are looking at in terms of filtering.
And I believe that there was a study that just came out, or regulations at the federal level about the emissions of this dust particles that have just come out recently in the last couple of weeks. Are you aware of that, or can speak a little bit about that?
I know that the state health department, as a part of this legislation, has issued a what they call a health, I think it's called a health notice or a health declaration about the 3 PM size of the particles in terms of setting a standard for our state. As far as federal goes, I'm not exactly sure.
Any other questions, or we can wrap it up and then I can answer any other questions, or I think we're getting close to our time, and I don't have any other questions from the audience members. So
Very good.
I want to thank you for the presentation, and I'll see you back in Minnesota.
That sounds good, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.